Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a mid-Earthright deck. It's pretty good, honestly. It's one of the top tier Mana Surge decks I think at the moment. That's where I found it off their tier list. And it's quite enjoyable to play. It's got some pretty normal combos for an Earth Rune. I mean, the Magic Illusionist with all the Earth sigils. We do have Price of Magic, which is pretty good. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And of course the Wizardess of Oz, the Mage and Presser of Taboos being your top end, so you're kind of just ending at 6 there, which is perfectly fine for a deck like this. So we'll get right into some games here and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alrighty guys, game 1 is against Blood. Pretty common thing to see lately, especially in the Master tier list where Blood is pretty common. Starting out with an average hand, you're looking for those early Earth sigils and 2 drops to combo with them. Maybe even keeping something for a late game setup, but most of the time you want those early drops. Since the meta is quite fast, you want those cards that can quite easily control and gain tempo. And Scrap Iron is a great card to just out aggro in the beginning. Fortunately, we do have a few nice cards in our hand. I mean, the Dwarven Alchemist is a really nice way just to gain an Earth Sigil, play out a card, and not have to waste your turn. Obviously, your ideal hand you're probably looking for is something similar to what I've drawn here. Maybe you want a 3-drop to go in between, but for the most part, this is usually pretty fine. Unfortunately, we draw into a 3-drop anyway. But they just play the exact same thing anyway, and we have to deal with it. So Halo Golem coming to our rescue, being a complete beast when it comes to dealing damage, clearing boards, going for lethals. It's just an all-rounder card and a great 4-drop. It's basically the equivalent of things like Big Knuckle Boxer, Dragon, Warrior, and Priest of the Cudgel. One of those kind of equivalent cards. Of course, Lyrially Archer. Not bad for me. I mean, they do have to trade that completely, meaning we should be able to pull them into the mid to late game. Now we've just got crap tons of things to play, so it's like, why not use these Dwarven Alchemists while we've got them? I could have went for the Evolve and drawn another card off it, but I decided not to do that, saving those Evolves just in case Blood can have some tricks up its sleeve and I don't want to be caught with my pants down. And of course, Alice being one of those tricks. But Professor of Taboos, great card. I mean, kill pretty much anything with it. Random removal as well, so it's good against ambush swords. But of course, Hungering Horde had to do some damage. And Big Knuckle just, you know, destroying my board. I might have been better off just evolving the Professor of Taboos before. But like I said, sometimes saving those evolves is beneficial, especially in matches like this where you're not 100% on what kind of deck they're bringing. Like if I had to realize they were a lot more aggro orientated, I probably would have used the evolves a lot earlier, but I didn't want to take the risk. And against Blood you do want to keep your board stable, so leaving a 4-4 up is pretty good. And since they have no evolves, there's not too much to worry about. The worst case would be an Abyss, and that isn't really a big concern either. Because by the time the Abyss would get damaged, we'd probably have a decent amount of damage ourselves. Wizardess of Oz, great card when it comes to drawing things. Even if you don't get a spell, the extra couple of draw power and the body work out nicely. And we can just go for some damage. So from here we pretty much have an easy road to lethal. I mean, the Halo Golem, the Master Mage Levi, and a little bit of removal and restocking of the board. Fitting quite nicely. And Magic Illusionist just topping it off, giving us the extra bit of damage we're probably going to need. And it's going to be a really sticky board because we have 3 sigils. Big Knuckle though, trying to crush my dreams again, but all it's really doing is drawing me cards. And Professor of Taboos is a pretty perfect draw. I mean, I gotta get rid of that 4/4 so I can hit them. We drop them down to 2. Professor of Taboo. I mean, if they manage to clear this board completely, then good on them. If not, we pretty much can go for lethal on the next turn anyway. I mean, worst case, another Revelations, but I mean, we already saw one, so the odds of another one was pretty small, but that was close. Next up is Shadow. Still one of the more popular meta decks. Shadow is pretty regular on ladder. I haven't seen as much neutral rune in recording this video, which is fortunate. I think I saw maybe one, and I did lose to it unfortunately, but I mean, neutral rune doesn't necessarily have a really bad matchup against anything. It usually is pretty good. So, a solid turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and Piercing Rune and Halo Golem to kind of top off that 4-drop end if we need it. And we've also got enough options that I'm not too worried about what they could play. I mean, the Goblin Mage here, giving us that draw, opening up with more options. So I think Goblin Mage only has a couple of targets, well 3 targets, sorry. Magic Illusionist, the Dwarven Alchemist, and Time Worn Mage. I think that was all that was in the stacks from memory. So you're pretty much guaranteeing one useful card off Goblin Mage no matter what, which is why it's a good card to run. So I don't worry about trading too much here. I only need to defend myself by at least 1. I mean, they could do a double trade anyway, but not too concerning. Overall, we're in a good spot. It's the spot I kind of want to be in for this kind of matchup. They are playing some, it seems like a neutral, maybe PTP Shadow. I'm not 100% exactly what they're playing here. But they have played a fair few neutral based cards, so I'm not too concerned by what they could play. So we can go for a full board clear here, while getting in a good amount of damage. We also do have the Professor for next turn, or the Halo Golem Earth Essence combo, which is a good way to stock the board back up. Not so lucky though, the Gourmet Emperors summoning more carrots. Carrots can be difficult, especially if you get a little unlucky. Fortunately, Professor does trade twice, summon 2 zombies, and give us a decent board to play off. Taking advantage of Professor's effect, I can minimize the damage to it by hitting the 2/2, and then only having to deal with the 4/2 thanks to our ability. Of course, Lurching Corpse. They're hoping to hit Professor. Luckily for me, 1 in 3 odds, pretty favourable. So instead they decide to, trade into it. I'm guessing they have more things to deal with stuff. I don't know, very roundabout way to do it, but it did the job. It did what they wanted it to. Price of Magic, Banishing. It's a good little tech card and it does a good job against certain cards, so I do enjoy that one. Of course we have the Goblin Mage, which is a nice hand restock. But they can see it anyway. Obviously running out of damage. And now the final match is Sword. Grandmaster Sword at that, so that's going to be entertaining. Sword can be tricky, just depends on your matchup. I mean, most Sword decks aren't too hard to deal with these days. Sword is probably one of the weaker classes overall when looking at it. But it definitely does have some decent games. It's also a really quite cheap deck in most cases, and this is most likely neutral runes, so that will be quite fun to deal with. Sword and Rune are about the only 2 decks that take decent advantage of the neutral engine. Haven has one variant, but it's not very good. And Blood does have a neutral deck still, but it's nowhere near where it should be for comparison to other neutral decks. Good thing, Magic Illusionist does, you know, resummon itself, so you can pretty easily just defend it over and over again. And it works as great trade material, especially in the early game against something like Sword, where you want to just keep trading and keep trading. Plus, we get some nice draws off it. So we have plenty of stuff. Honestly, Wizard of Oz is one of the few cards in this deck that when it does work, it's good. When it doesn't work, it's kind of pointless. I mean, I expected them to do that kind of trading, but for me it's not a big deal. We've got options. Fortunately, the Time Worn is quite a good one. Quite an enjoyable matchup, being able to just kill off things repeatedly while getting in that little bit of chip damage finally. And now that we're on the turn 6 onwards, we're in a good spot. I mean, we do have to clear this board. Luckily, Master Mage does a good job of that. Dealing 3 damage to everything. Great way to deal with Counselor cards, especially since if you're going first, I'll play it on 5, so you get to play Mage on 6 straight after. So as long as you got that set up against Sword, you're pretty well off. Luminous Mage though, thinking it's a hot shot. Lucky with Witch's Cauldron and Professor Taboo. Very easy way to deal with this. And you can just hold on to that whole Crimson Sorcery. Even better, double Professor. Again, make sure to trade into the lower of the 2 so that you get that proc on the effect and not take maximum damage. Magic Illusionist though, coming to our hand. I really enjoy that card. If we can get some stuff to go with it, it'll be very beneficial. Forcing a reasonably unfavourable trade here. I mean, if they wanted to. Fortunately, Cyclone Blade, one of the few cards you don't expect Sword to have, but it seems like this Sword did, so that's kind of unfortunate, honestly. I didn't really see the point, so I did like this. I could have played the Magic Illusionist and drawn an extra card, but I was kind of hoping I'd draw into something a little more useful. I don't know what I was aiming for, but just anything would have been good. So now we're looking for a way to deal with this entire board. It's not impossible, a little bit tricky. I mean, we pretty easily deal with that. I could have Halo Golem the 1/3 Bane, which might have been nicer, but I instead decided to take the Professor of Taboo and do it that way. Which if I decided to do that, I could have actually gained an extra zombie, which would have been a lot more beneficial. So a slight misplay, but it all turned out okay in the end. I mean, I had a few good options in that turn, looking back on it. There goes our Piercing Rune, kind of unfortunate. But still not the worst possible case. And Wizard can now draw us 4 cards. I mean, we don't run that many spells, so the odds that we draw 1 is pretty low. Piercing Rune, unfortunately, does get into our draw, but not a big deal. I mean, losing 1 Piercing Rune here, not going to be the be-all and end-all of this matchup. The opponent, on the other hand, has a really solid board, making my life a little more difficult. Luckily, the Dwarven Alchemist and the Master Mage clear most of this. And allow us to play whatever we kind of want the next turn without too much worry. So they have a 6/3. They're looking for probably another Albert. That would be their only win condition here. Luckily, they decided to go for the trade. Unfortunately, though, I do need to kill that 6/1 some way. I mean, we get the hit. Which does get rid of it. We are kind of left with having to get rid of these 4-4 and 2-2. The only chance is to draw into a Dance of Death, which we do. So being able to kill that off while setting them to 7. We're out of range of Albert, so we don't have any concern of that. And our board is reasonably stocked up. And that top deck really wasn't the best thing they could get. And with that, we've got 2 points from lethal, and Magic Illusionist should set up lethal. So, even if they clear board, Magic Illusionist will be able to resummon itself, and they have a fun time trying to get rid of that again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, the deck list will be in the description below. Also make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. There's not much to say about this deck. It's great, it's fun, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.